So just in case some of you don't know me, my name's Enrique Cruz. I was a student of 5.4, the Android class at Pursuit. So this is my second job in my career. And after about a year of persistent applications to Audible, I finally got in. So I'm really happy about that. So a few thanks that I want to give are to my instructors, Lucy Lee and Jose Villa, along with the TAs and my classmates as well. Mainly because I was given the core fundamentals of Android and I had a stepping stone to start off with. They helped me answer my million questions and my instructors and TAs gave me a lot of tough love when it came not just to analyzing my work, but breaking out of my comfort zone and having me speak on a technical level and not be afraid to be incorrect. I also want to thank my boyfriend of 4 years, coming this August, who not only helped me financially by working 40 hours a week so I can study and apply for jobs even during the pandemic, but was there for me whenever I doubted myself and whenever I got too disappointed in myself, amidst the amount of rejections I got from jobs all over the world. He knew my potential in being a great worker and knew that one day somebody would give me a chance to show them that I can do the job, even though I didn't go to college for computer science or even have years of experience as a software engineer yet. I want to thank my mother, and I think I'm actually going to say this bit in Spanish because she doesn't know English, and I want her to hear this and know that I want to thank her. También quiero decirle gracias a mi mamá, a mis hermanos, mi hermano y mi hermana, que me ayudaron, que me dieron un lugar a dormir cuando estaba yendo a la escuela, cuando necesitaba algo de comer o solo alguien con que platicar. Y siempre voy a estar agradecido por eso. Y muchas gracias, mami. I want to thank my former classmates again, one more time, because there's a lot of them and they deserve a lot of love as well. They're the ones that I went to for questions, catch up, or just to say hello. And I want nothing more than to see them get jobs and us celebrating together or even having another talk. I want to also thank my mentor, Jeff Drew, who not only saw the potential in me when helping me get the job at Audible, but also there for me when it comes to my nerves about an upcoming interview, giving me some great pointers, even if the advice is to write it down, because that's something I did not do until he recommended it to me, and to not psych myself out. You really gave me a lot of good advice that I've been using this whole time, and it's helped me not just grow as an engineer, but as a person. I want to thank the recruiter, my recruiter, Tyler Mataya, who is on this call, for giving me an opportunity to show Audible what I can do. And I'm here to prove them that they've made a great choice and keep going forward. Lastly, I want to thank my team at Audible. I've been working there for almost a month now, and not one day have I felt a dread to go to work or felt scared to ask anyone questions. A bit nervous maybe, but not scared. um, so thank you for making me feel as part of the group. So at Pursuit, I started interviewing there in 2015. It was known as C4Q at the time. It took a few years for them to finally accept me into the program, and that was in 2018. But before that, I went to a private college for web design and graduated in 2012. I didn't have much help after graduation, so I took on a lot of unpaid internships until I could finally get a paid job. Unfortunately, what I learned was so trivial to what I should have learned that I wasn't even considered for most jobs. I saw what was needed for an actual job, which was being a web designer, and it felt so daunting to do it myself and learn a whole new coding language that I feel that I should have learned in college. I worked in retail for a few years to get myself to talk to people. I've always been shy and thought this would be a great way to encourage myself to get to know a whole spectrum of people and know how to communicate effectively. It wasn't until 2018 when I took a second job and saw that I didn't want to work too hard to have a living. I wanted to do something with my intelligence and feel valued. I wanted to work somewhere where I'll be proud of and not dread coming into work every day. So when I joined Pursuit in 2018, I was living in Passaic, New Jersey, with my boyfriend. He and I talked about how to handle the program and work at the same time. Ultimately, we agreed that with the help of his father, they would both support me while I was in school. My schedule was weekends and nights. On the weekends, I would stay over at my mother's house to save money on traveling from from New Jersey to New York and vice versa. She would provide me with food and a place to sleep so I'd be able to focus on my studies. Traveling from NJ to NY was mostly a pain, mainly because it was 5 blocks and not just city blocks. It was like the avenue blocks. So it felt like 10 blocks actually. And some of these were hills. So that was even more pressure. And it felt worse on hot days. Sometimes, to be honest, I did dread going to Pursuit just because of that walk. But I would look at my boyfriend going to work and remember what I'm doing this for. That little motivation kept me going, even if the weather was 100 degrees or -0. After completing the program, I didn't feel like I had nowhere to go. I had a support system and base knowledge of where to start. It was up to me to keep ramping it up and not feel too left behind technical wise. I landed my first job shortly, but because of COVID, I was unfortunately laid off and felt a huge amount of demoralization. I went back to coding in Java while the industry was moving towards Kotlin for the future. I thought since I was comfortable in Java that perhaps I could get another job and just learn Kotlin from scratch. However, after a while, I gave it some thought and told myself that if I wanted someone to take a chance on me and my skills, I would have to put in the same effort and risk. So from thereafter, I would take all my interviews in Kotlin, still knowing that I'm not an expert in it, but I'm willing to learn and put myself out there. For the past year, I was rejected for about 300 plus jobs. When I would get to final interviews and rejected, the amount of self-doubt inflicted on myself would increase dramatically. There were times where I wanted to call it quits and just maybe go back to my old retail job where it was easier. But I knew that route was no longer available. I committed myself to this, and with my support system, I knew I wouldn't be alone and I should just focus on my studying. I'm not starting at 0, I'm continuing from 100. For few last words, I want to say I know it's easy for me to say that you should keep going and keep applying for jobs. But sometimes it's a good idea to just take a break. Sometimes it's a good idea to study and not to worry too much about interviews. There's going to be a lot of bad days, and some may be worse than others. Go reach out to your former peers, instructors, mentors, and even family members. Just by telling them what you are going through, they could help you lift some of that pressure off of your shoulders. Give yourself a reason to continue this journey. And every time you feel like giving up, just look back and remember what you are fighting for. Look at that progress you made. And remember, you aren't starting from the beginning, but continuing and marching on. I highly recommend taking risks, even if that means learning a new language, software, or even soft skills like public speaking. Because if you don't take a risk, then no one else will take a risk on you. And with that, I am going to ring the gong here. Shoot. What is it? That's done. Second. Oh no, I didn't give permission for my screen. So I may have to do this without the screen sharing. All right, but the noise will still be the same. All right. Let's see. One more second.
Yay!
Woo!
Woo!
Congrats.
Hey.
Congrats!
Go Enrique!
Enrique. Woo. Enrique, thank you for sharing your story and yeah, being so open and yeah, it's a very, oh, there it goes. You want to do it again? Actually, why don't you do it again for everyone? Was that you that you shared your screen?
Oh, I think I did.
Let's do it right. All right.
Oh, okay.
Let's do
Okay.
it
All right. One more time. That one didn't count.
one time.
Yay!
Hey.